So Nioh 3 is almost here and is shaping up to be one of the most ambitious entries in the series so far. With its signature fast-paced combat now set within a much more open world, there's significantly more freedom in how you explore, fight, and progress compared to previous Nioh games. With that said, there's still a lot players don't fully understand about Nioh and how it actually works, so today we're breaking down 10 crucial things you need to know before playing Nioh 3, covering everything from combat fundamentals and progression system to exploration and key mechanics. That way when Nioh 3 launches on February 6th, you know exactly what to expect. My name is Fervor, and with that, let's dive into the video. So first things first, we need to talk about the single biggest change coming to Nioh 3 because this fundamentally alters how the game is played compared to previous entries in the series. Up until now, Nioh has always been a very instance-based experience. You would select a region, pick a mission, load in, complete your objective, and move on to the next one. That structure defined how progress worked, how encounters were paced, and even how players approach builds and preparation. Everything was segmented, controlled, and very deliberate, designed around individual missions. Nioh 3 changes that in a major way. Instead of being built around isolated missions, Nioh 3 shifts towards a much more open world structure. You're no longer hopping between self-contained instances, you're navigating a large, dangerous, war-torn world where enemies, bosses, and allies all exist in the same shared space. Yokai-infested areas, hostile factions, roaming threats, and key encounters are now part of the world itself, rather than something you queue into. That doesn't mean Nioh is suddenly slowing down or losing its identity. You should still expect the same fast-paced, technical, and demanding combat the series is known for. Enemy patterns still matter, stamina management is still crucial, and fights still end in seconds if you're careless. What changed is the context in which all of that happens. Next, let's talk about something every player wants clear answers on early: the release date, pricing, and how monetization is being handled. Nioh is officially set to launch on February the 6th, 2026, and is coming both to PlayStation 5 and PC through Steam. There's no staged release here. Console and PC players are jumping in at the same time, which is good to see, especially for a game that supports online co-op. The standard edition for the game is priced at $69.99, which lines up with what we've come to expect from AAA-scale releases. That version includes the base game and gives you access to both single-player experience in the online co-op without any restrictions. For players who already know they're going all in on the game, there's a digital deluxe edition priced at $109.99. This includes the base game along with the season pass and set of bonuses in-game items. If Nioh 3 follows the same post-launch structure as previous entries, the season pass will likely cover multiple DLC expansions released over time, adding new regions, enemies, gear, and challenges. There's also a physical collector's option called the Treasure Box Edition, priced at $126.99. This version includes the base game along with physical extras like an art book, soundtrack, and additional merchandise aimed more at long-term fans of the series who want something tangible to go along with the game itself. As for monetization beyond that, Nioh 3 is sticking to what the series has always done. This is a premium game, not a live service title, and there's no indication of pay for power systems, microtransaction driven progression, or anything that would interfere with gameplay balance. Once you own the game, progression, gear, and builds are earned through playing, not spending. The game supports both solo play and online co-op, and nothing about the pricing structure locked those features behind additional purchases. Whether you're playing alone or teaming up with friends, everyone is accessing the same core experience. Another important detail to talk about is character customization, because this is another area a lot of players are going to interact with right away. Nioh 3 gives you pretty robust character creators and lets you build the kind of character you actually want to play, as instead of locking you into something overly limited. You got a wide range of sliders to work with here. Facial structure, cheekbones, jaw lines, eye shape, eye colors, and skin tones are all fully adjustable. You can fine tune things as much or as little as you want, which is great for players who like to dial in on a specific look, but it also works well if you just want to make something quick and move on. There's also multiple voice options which help give your character a bit more personality, especially during combat and story moments. On top of that, you get a solid selection of hairstyles and hair colors, and none of that feels overly restrictive. You're not just choosing between just a handful of presets. There's enough variety here to make your character feel distinct. Now, is this the most advanced character creator ever made? No, it's not trying to compete with the absolute top tier systems that let you sculpt every millimeter of the face, but that's not really the point. What Nioh 3 offers is a customization system that clearly is above average, with enough depth and flexibility that most players are going to be happy with what they create. If I had to put a number on it, it's probably around a solid 8 out of 10. It does what it needs to do very well, gives you a lot of meaningful choices, and avoid feeling shallow or outdated. You have plenty of options to make a character that feels like yours, and that's all that really matters. Next up is one of the biggest changes in Nioh 3, the Samurai and Ninja system. Instead of locking yourself into a single build like previous Nioh games, Nioh 3 lets you swap between Samurai mode and Ninja mode at any time. These aren't just stances, these are two completely separate loadouts. In practical terms, you always have two builds available. Each mode has its own weapons, skills, and strengths, which means you're not forcing one playstyle through every fight. If something isn't working, you can immediately swap and adjust instead of resetting or brute forcing encounters. Samurai mode generally focuses on more direct, grounded combat, while Ninja mode lean into speed, mobility, and utility. Having access to both give you much more control over how you handle different enemies and situations. This also ties directly into how the burst counter system works now in Nioh 3 compared to previous entries. Burst counter is now triggered through swapping forms. It feels faster, more natural, and keep both Samurai and Ninja mode actively involved rather than treating them as separate systems. Next up is Ninjutsu and martial arts, which is another area where Nioh 3 is expanding in a noticeable way. At launch, the game features a wide variety of ranged weapons, martial arts, and ninjutsu options, giving players significantly more flexibility compared to previous entries. Nioh 3 includes access to multiple martial arts styles along with ranged weapons like bows, rifles, and hand cannons. These aren't just secondary tools, they're integrated into how builds function and how combat encounters can be approached. Certain weapons and techniques are clearly tied to specific styles. If you're leaning into more the ninja gameplay, weapons like the hatchets are going to be more core to part of that setup, working well with faster movement and ninjutsu focused mechanics. Samurai-oriented setups lean more into weapons that emphasize control, power, and direct combat. Another key detail is Nioh 3 is launching with a larger lineup of weapons, well over 10 confirmed weapons, not including the ranged ones we talked about a second ago, many of which are now more clearly tied to specific playstyles. Adachi-style weapons are going to be for Samurai, obviously, and the hatchet are going to be tied for the Ninja. You'll also see plenty of returning weapons from previous games, including dual swords, axes, spears, tonfas, and talons, all still supporting stance-based combat. The key takeaway here is weapons choice is more structured, more style focused, and more flexible than before, while still keeping the stance system intact. Yokais make a return to the series not only as enemies you'll face throughout the open world, but also as something the player can actively use. Yokai abilities are tied to both stances depending on what you have equipped on them at the time. As you encounter yokai in the world, you can turn them into demon cores, which are equipped into your yin or yang slots. These demon cores provide a variety of effects. Some allow you to summon yokai, grant special abilities, or provide other supporting buffs, and all offering some passive bonuses that help shape your character and your overall build as you progress. This system gives you way more customization on how your character plays and how you approach combat based entirely on which yokai you choose to equip and how you build around them. Next and finally, let's talk about download size and preload timing so you're prepared before launch. On PS5, official data shows that Nioh 3 file size will be about 75 GB with preload beginning on February the 4th, 2 days before launch. On PC through Steam, there isn't a specific preload date listed publicly yet, but players can expect a similar preload window close to launch. The game is currently available for pre-purchase on Steam. In addition to download size, the installation space requirement on PC is significant. Nioh 3 requires at least 125 gigs of storage on an SSD, so before February 4th hits, make sure you have roughly 75 GB free for PS5 download and around 125 GB available on PC so you aren't held up when the preload becomes available. And there you have it. Those are the crucial details you need to know before jumping into Nioh 3. With the shift to a full open world, the Samurai and the Ninja swap system, expanded weapon options, and yokai abilities returning in a big way, this is shaping up to be one of the most interesting evolutions the series has seen so far. If this video has helped you get ready for Nioh 3, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming launch coverage, guides, and deeper breakdowns once the game goes live. I'll be covering Nioh 3 extensively as we get closer to the release and beyond. Make sure to check out the links down in the description if you want to join the Discord community. We have a lot of like-minded players. As always guys, my name is Fervor. Thank you guys for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one very soon.